The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Welcome to my radio and TV show, Debi Changes Lives. I'm Debi, your certified holistic health coach. I revitalize your people's lives by helping them identify the root causes of their health issues and create a natural holistic strategy to address them in the areas of mind, body, and soul. As a health coach, I'm not allowed to say that I heal, treat, cure, prevent, or diagnose any diseases. I can certainly make your body more efficient by reducing symptoms. You'll feel better, be more productive, and enjoy life more. Is intermittent fasting a fad? No, actually it isn't, because it actually works and it's popular. Intermittent fasting gives you mental clarity, reduces inflammation, and repairs your cells. And YFast is an intermittent fasting program that does all that, and in turn boosts your metabolism with rich, high-density nutrition and nutrients. It has a program behind it with exercises and recipes, and it gets your and is a part of all my programs. And you can also do this as a standalone. You're welcome to reach out to me regarding YFast and my other programs on my consultation button of my link tree, which is at Debi Changes Lives, DebiChangesLives.com/Linktree. And in life, we're always learning, especially when we bring up our families. As a mother and a wife, I'm always seeking solutions for my husband and son. And because of my own transformational journey of releasing 70 pounds and keeping it off for over a decade, all this prompted me to become a certified holistic health coach. I guide people with clean, toxic-free foods, high-quality nutrients, and my coaching is for health, weight release, and mindset. And we're always meant to grow in life, and I certainly did. Today, I have Joanne Nguyen, a orofacial myofunctional therapist. Joanne's journey led her to find solutions for her young son who was struggling with allergies, clenching and grinding teeth, snoring, and lack of emotional control. Through experiencing transformational impact on her son's health from oral facial myofunctional therapy, Joanne is inspired to help others who have faced the same problems. With 13 years as a dental hygienist, including 4 years of holistic dentistry, she brings a wealth of knowledge to her practice. She's discovered how some common health issues are linked to the use and rest of muscles in our mouth, face, and neck. She uses a holistic approach, which means the whole body, mind, body, and spirit, just like I do with my services. She incorporates a specialized breathing method, Buteyko, that in her clients' programs. We'll be delving into the benefits and overall well-being that oral facial myofunctional therapy brings. So let's welcome Joanne Nguyen, the oral facial myofunctional therapist. Thank you for coming to my show, Joanne.
Thank you for having me, Debi. Thank you for the wonderful intro. I know it's a really long kind of title, the oral facial myofunctional therapist. So you did wonderful. But in short, people call us like myofunctional therapists. So if you ever hear that out there, it's the same thing. And then it's not so long,
Yeah,
but
it was a mouthful.
yeah, thank you. You did great though.
Okay, not a problem. Okay, what is exactly myofunctional therapy?
Yeah. So I always like to keep it as simple as possible. It's not something that's like mainstream that's out there, So I just say that it's similar to physical therapy, but I work with the muscles of the mouth and the face, right? And so when we don't use those muscles correctly, it can affect like the way we breathe, right? And breathing is super important because you need to breathe properly when you're awake and when you're asleep so that your body can repair itself, right? And get that
Exactly.
regenerative sleep.
Yeah.
And then it can affect the way we speak, because if you can't use your tongue properly, if there's low muscle tone or you have a tie, it can definitely affect the way you talk. And so it also affects the way you swallow, like we eat, when we drink and eat, we're swallowing. And so when the muscles of the mouth and the tongue aren't used properly, we have a dysfunctional swallow, which is supposed to be innate, but there are many people who have that dysfunctional swallow and they don't even know. And then lastly, it is really important to use those muscles correctly and to have that correct tongue posture for our bodies to grow and develop, and especially this area here. So for our jaws to grow nice and wide, for our teeth to come in properly, for there to have proper occlusion where the teeth fit together. So you won't need braces, you need those muscles to work properly and for that tongue to be in the right place to help guide that growth.
Oh,
That's
that's
just a
that saves a lot of money on braces. I had to have braces, so did my son. But when I first met you, I really wish I met you before I had my son because it would have been so beneficial. Um, but let's continue with the interview. How did you
yeah.
get started in this field?
It's always something personal that brings us into doing something that we're so passionate about, right, Debbie? And I can tell that you're really passionate about what you do too, and your story's amazing. I mean, I've looked at your website and I've seen your transformation, and it was pretty incredible. Like today was actually the first time I actually looked through and I saw your transformation. So that was amazing, like incredible. But as far as me, you know, I was a first time mom when I had my son 10 years ago, right? And I had a wonderful labor. A wonderful pregnancy. The labor itself was difficult. And then when he was born, he was crying for like the first 7 months of his life, just everything that I did. Diaper change, he would cry. Bath, he would cry. He just was not a happy baby.
Mhm.
And I didn't know what it was. I was a first time mom. I just thought, okay, am I doing something wrong? Like why all my friends' children don't cry like that. They cry, but not like that. And so I suspected he had like a tongue tie. My background as a dental hygienist, they teach us about it, but like not in depth. And so he could obviously stick his tongue out. We had some trouble with nursing in the beginning, but we were able to work it out. And I understand now that he was just compensating and using other muscles he wasn't supposed to. He was like borrowing to help him extract the milk. But that's how it began. So a really tough, like infant period where he was crying all the time. And then that turned into temper tantrums. Like after the 7 month period, I would have to put him on like timeout before he was 1 year old. And he would just go from
Wow.
like, 0 to 100 for no particular reason. He's crying, like sweating. He's all red. We'd be driving in the car in his car seat and he'll ask me if I saw something on the freeway. And I would be, no, mommy's driving. I can't see, And he's like, what do you mean? And he'll try to describe it to me. And because I couldn't see it and I didn't know what he was talking about, he would just cry all the way home and just be upset, And so um, then came the snoring, the clenching and grinding. And I actually learned about how having a tongue tie or not being able to use those muscles correctly from a breastfeeding group. It wasn't my background in dental, it was the breastfeeding group. And so they said that, if you have a tie and you can't use it correctly, it can affect breathing. And then, because it affects breathing, then you can't get to the deep stages of sleep. And as adults, we know when we don't sleep well, we're cranky the next day. But can you imagine for like a child who's developing so rapidly and they can't sleep from the minute they're born? It really affects their whole development in their brain. They can't control their emotions. They can become hyperactive, and lots of children with ADHD have some form of like breathing disorder that may or may not be looked at, and so he's the one who kind of led me down this path. I discovered that as a dental hygienist, there is this field that exists and I could be trained in it to help him, So my son did have a tongue tie like I suspected. And I connected with some doctors who are more in that field of airway and developing the jaws and, growth for optimal just living. And so I helped him prepare him to with the therapy to get his muscles to function correctly. Then we got his tongue tie released. And from there, I just saw changes. Like he wet his bed till I think about 8 years old.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, we were washing bed sheets like every single night, Debi, at like 2 or 3 in the morning since he was as long as I can remember. And that's really tough on a family, like his condition and the things that went on just affected my whole life and my whole family because I went through postpartum. What's that?
I understand because my son didn't have all the conditions that your son had, but he was, he didn't latch, he didn't breastfeed very well. And,
Yeah.
get into all these details. I had a pump breastfeed formula. I had to go through that whole time, period. And it took me, 6 months before I got outside to be in play groups with him because I was constantly feeding.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that.
And later on, we found out that he had a hiatal hernia. So he had digestive problems, which, even though your child, seemed to cry a lot, my son would only cry when he ate. So that's what was the problem. He was not exactly, somebody, eating wasn't a pleasure for him. And somebody just asked a question. So what was that question, Rebel?
Yeah, this all had to do with the muscles in the mouth. Yes. And so to make it simple, like our tongue, let's say this is the roof of the mouth and this is a tongue. Your tongue posture should be resting against the whole roof of your mouth with like no gap in between, And so when there's a tongue tie, because it's restricted and it's like it's closer to the floor of the mouth, it can't sit up there and rest in the roof of the mouth where it's supposed to be. And it's supposed to be up there all day long and all night long, except when we're speaking or when we're eating. So when it's up there, it stays out of the airway and the throat. Am I able to share things on the screen? I think I can.
There's not files.
It's up to you.
No, there's no files you can share. No. So if you
because there's like a present button. I think when I was reading, when they sent me an email, like I can share my screen if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me go through and find that. It's just a photo to help explain low tongue posture.
And while he's doing that, I got to say that I had this problem when I was a child, and I was trained by a speech therapist to put my tongue on the roof of my mouth. So,
yes.
So it's really something that a lot of people don't realize they're not doing.
There it is. So let me present this.
Okay.
Can you guys see? Yes. So here, it's like a side view. Our whole tongue needs to be in the roof of our mouth like that. Here, it's showing low tongue posture. So sometimes the tip of our tongue can be up. A lot of the times with my clients, I find that the tip is down low. It's sitting between the upper and lower front teeth, or it's hanging out down here, but the back isn't up either. So in order to have good and proper tongue posture, the whole thing has to be up. So like right here, this whole area needs to be filled in with that tongue.
Yeah, and there's like a bridge behind your front teeth that you can put your tongue onto.
Yeah, right here. When you say the letter N, we call that the spot in
Yeah.
myofunctional therapy, that's where the tip of your tongue should live, like N, and then the rest of the tongue should fill in where all the zigzags are in this photo.
Yeah, and that's how I learned about that. So that's why when she started talking about, oh my goodness, I have that.
Yeah.
So now let's get back to the next question. How do you know if somebody, well, I guess I found out later in life, needs myofunctional therapy?
Yeah, so it goes back to there's four main goals that we have in myofunctional therapy, right? And every human being walking this planet Earth should be doing this since the day they're born. So we should be breathing through our nose. We're innate nasal breathers. We should not be breathing through our mouth, and it's never normal. Breathing through the mouth is like rescue breathing, and it's to help us stay alive. So goal number one is to breathe through the nose. Goal number two is to have a good lip seal. Like our lips should be sealed. It shouldn't be like open like that, or
Mhm.
like more obvious. Sometimes
Yeah.
I see clients in both arenas where it's just a couple millimeters or like it's wide open. But when the mouth is open, it doesn't support having that tongue up on the roof of the mouth. When it's closed, it creates this natural suction for that tongue to stay up there.
Mhm.
And then goal number three is to have that tongue up on the roof of the mouth, right? That expands the palate. It makes the jaws grow nice and wide, like a U shape, because that's the shape of our tongue, and not like a V where it's very narrow and it's vaulted. And then you'll need braces like when you get older. And
Yeah.
then the last one is to have a proper swallow. So why do all those things matter, and how is it connected to the common conditions at night, right? Do you want to address the questions now? Do you want to
Go
save it to
ahead.
the
Go
end,
ahead.
Debbie? Okay.
That's a good
So what
point.
if your mouth falls open at night? So when it's open at night, anytime your mouth falls open, your tongue will drop. And when the tongue drops, you're going to mouth breathe. And when we mouth breathe, it puts our body in fight or flight. So that sympathetic nervous system naturally. And we don't want to do that when we're sleeping, because we
No,
need
we
to
don't.
go into, rest and digest, repair our body from the craziness of the day. So when you can't get to the deep stages of reparative sleep, you're basically running a marathon all night long. And then that in turn, like, will lead into sleep apnea. So the precursor to sleep apnea is mouth breathing. It'll start with mouth breathing, then it'll turn into snoring. And then snoring will turn into upper airway resistance syndrome, which doesn't get spoken about a lot. And then that will turn into sleep apnea. So we see the medical field, they wait and wait, and they're very reactive. They wait until the medical model says you have sleep apnea, and then they put you in a CPAP, right? But nobody is looking at all these things that happened before that. It starts with mouth breathing, and you can see it in infancy. And then the body just adapts and adapts and compensates until it can't anymore. And then you will see those big problems,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I think you already answered this, but let's just make sure there's clarification. Somebody asked, what happens when someone snores?
Oh, yes. So how I see it is, when the tongue is up in the roof of the mouth, it has a nice strong tone, and it's able to create this light suction up there. It stays out of the airway. It doesn't fall to the back of the throat. I'm going to show you guys in my presentation. It'll just help you visualize it better.
Why does a CPAP have water? We'll get to that question next.
Okay.
He's asking about a CPAP machine.
Okay, let me show. Can you guys see?
Now I do, yes.
Okay, so there's a photo that this is like I go through this whole clinical exam for my clients. So I'll show you guys this picture. So your tongue should be in the roof of the mouth, right? This is
yes,
a scan that shows, the tongue in correct posture. It stays out of the airway. So when you're sleeping and you have low muscle tone in your tongue and your mouth breathing and it's low, that tongue will fall back here, right? It'll fall here. And then because it's blocking like the structures in the throat and you're breathing, those vibrations is what's making that snoring sound. Yeah. So with the tongue up and the lips closed, the air will then come through your nose and down this way, so that you don't snore. Typically, yeah.
Sometimes people whistle through their nose.
Yeah. Was there another question, Debbie?
Yeah, there was one other question, and that's a different type of snoring, I guess. The question was, why does a CPAP machine have water? We don't breathe water. I guess regular. So why water? Probably for the moisture.
Oh, why does the CPAP?
Utilize water? It's probably for moisture.
Yeah, I know that the CPAP's machine, the CPAP's role and purpose is to push forced air into these structures. So it's like pushing air in so that you may breathe better.
Yeah, it probably needs to be more of a moist, like humid air versus dry, because that would dry your throat.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I that'd be very irritating.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. So yeah. Back to, you were saying, how do you know you need myofunctional therapy, before we got to the questions?
Yes.
So
true.
those are the 4 goals. I guess I should, let me put them back on the screen so that I know I stopped sharing, but let me put them up so that you can see what the goals are, so that you don't have to memorize them, right? Is this okay, Debbie? Is it easier?
It's
Yeah.
taking a little time, but
Yeah.
be aware of that.
Yeah. Okay. So these are the 4 goals, and this is what we should all be doing as human beings, right? Day and night. When there's any deviation from these 4 goals, then you will have dysfunction. And the dysfunctional symptoms would be
Nasal breathing.
opposite of these 4 goals. So it would be mouth breathing, lips open, it would be tongue down low, or having a tongue tie, and it would be that dysfunctional swallow. Here's the dysfunction. So any deviation from those 4 goals will result in this. And it's because of these things here that is connected to the other problems that we see, such as like daytime sleepiness, right? Poor, like the sleep apnea, that's the big major problem. Chronic pain of the jaw joints, of the muscles of the face.
Is open more and hanging, so to speak. So it creates it will stress. It'll create more weight and stress on your jaw.
Yeah. Or you would borrow from other muscles, because these are working dysfunctionally. Your body adapts, right? So that it can stay alive. So it will borrow the other surrounding muscles from the neck and shoulders, the facial muscles, to compensate. And so day in and day out, this improper usage then causes overusage. And then you can have chronic pain and tension of the neck and shoulders, of the jaw joints. Yeah.
Exactly. Because it creates stress in your neck and shoulders. Exactly.
And so
now we had one more question there.
Yeah.
What was it? Rebel, can you bring that up, please? There we go. How can you learn to keep your mouth closed? Well, you use Joanne as your
I love that question.
It's true.
So yes.
So why don't we go ahead with what have you seen in your therapy that helps, with your therapy type for your clients? What have you seen it work?
Yes, absolutely. So I work with clients of all ages, right? I start at around 3 years old. Therapy is it's a therapeutic exercise based program that I do. And so you have to be able to repeat the exercises back to me, like physical therapy. And then I'm helping to create that awareness, of where that tongue should be, what you should be doing with the mouth, how we should be properly breathing. And so I'm helping you repattern and correct your muscles and how you're using them. So it's a program to teach you how to use those muscles correctly. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, that does answer the question. Now, do they have to be local to you, or can you do this on Zoom?
No, I do both. So yeah,
Oh,
I'm located in Orange County, California, and I have a location in Long Beach, California too, but I do both in person and on Zoom.
okay. And I'm sure some people may not be aware of or what is buteyko breathing. Could you just, kind of describe what it's like?
Yeah, it's just a method of breathing. Like we, uh, our culture, we're like overbreathers. We breathe too much. Regular, healthy, optimal breathing should be around 10 to 12 breaths per minute. And most of us don't breathe that way. We're more towards like the 18, 20 breaths per minute. And
Yes.
we're over breathing. We're breathing too much. We're letting air out too fast.
Yes.
And so mouth breathing especially will do that. When you breathe through your nose is your filter. It's like your immune system.
Yes.
It
Yes.
humidifies the air. It removes the contaminants. You also produce nasal nitric oxide, which is antifungal, antibacterial. Breathing through the nose kills dust mites. And so,
It's like,
yeah,
yeah, it's like a filter. That's what those little hairs are all about.
yeah, absolutely. And so Buteyko breathing focuses on normalizing that breathing. A lot of times with that mouth breathing, it's correcting it and helping you breathe through the nose like optimally. And it uses like methods and exercises to help you not overbreathe. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a little side note. I scuba dive, and people say I breathe like a fish because I come up with a tank so full, and I use the small tank, not the full large.
Aw.
And I just know how to breathe and utilize my air, and also, I use it for buoyancy as well.
Yeah.
Like an elevator. But my whole point is a lot of people just overbreathe. And when you're doing a physical activity like that, I guess there's a little bit of that fight mode there where, they're just breathing more than they should. And for
Yeah.
me, scuba diving is so relaxing. Everyone's really amazed that I can bring those little tanks up with, still air in it.
That's really good. No, they say that swimming, when people take on swimming, it helps their breathing because there are a lot of, when you're swimming, you have to hold your breath a lot, like it helps you retrain that. So yeah, they say
Yeah,
that.
I guess I swam a lot, so that before I learned how to scuba dive. But yeah, that was
Hmm.
something that I've never had problems with. And then later on in life, I learned more meditation and different breathing techniques, like ones that you use as well, because it just helps relax people and bring down their emotions and stress. So that's something I
Yeah.
do offer for my clients.
Some other things I wanted to share about how it helps, obviously it helped my son. That's where it began.
Yeah,
It helped not just him, but our whole family. I was able to put pieces together of why that was happening. It helped my postpartum depression because I was depressed
yeah,
for
it
five
definitely will help.
years.
It
Yeah.
definitely will help with depression. I can see that.
Um, yeah, and then he's thriving, like much better. He's not like snoring. He looks more alert. If we have time, I'll show you some before and after photos of him
Okay.
that I caught of him, like with his mouth open, and then what he looks like now. It can help. I've helped clients who, like a 10-year-old client, he had digestive issues. His mom said he would like have tummy aches and throw up a lot, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. And he had a very restricted tongue tie. And so,
Mm.
yeah, it was super restricted. She said he wouldn't try new foods. He would eat soft things like rice and
Mhm.
beans that were soft. When you can't use your tongue properly, you become picky with foods. And so sometimes they say, oh, it's normal for kids to be picky with foods. No, it's not. As
Oh,
human beings, we're supposed to like to eat, you know, and we're supposed to want to try everything. So
and my
common.
son and my son was really picky with foods, but he ended up having a high on a hernia.
Yeah.
So there was something that actually found.
Yep.
So it was a lot of acid, and I helped him through that process, and he started eating, and I was so grateful. correcting, helping us correcting his gut and getting him to eat. You should have saw, my husband all of a sudden announced, after, I helped him, after it was about 6 months, he goes, this kid doesn't have any eating problems. And to this day, he eats exotic meat.
Yeah.
Venison,
There's
kangaroo, crocodile, alligator,
it's
he's eating
absolutely, yeah.
all this stuff.
It's
So he's really
normal to not
now.
wanna eat and try new foods, right, Debbie? I
No,
mean I mean,
it is, to tell you the truth, he probably was tongue tied and I didn't know. And there's probably a correlation with the muscles, with your stomach as well. So, but he was born with a hiatal hernia. So that's the main issue that he had. And since we've, solved that problem and helped him with it, he's been a lot better and he's really well.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
I'm
wonderful
so happy
story.
about that. But,
Yeah,
it's interesting how we have different approaches to help our sons.
yeah, absolutely.
And I wish I knew about you, but my son was already born before you started eating and
Yeah.
didn't know any of that stuff.
It's never too late, like, not to say that he needs the therapy now, but we don't grow out of the dysfunction. Our bodies just learn how to adapt and
Adaptive. Yeah.
change so that we can survive. And then we get used to the way that feels. And so those feelings start to feel normal. And then we don't know what normal is like anymore, or what optimal is like when you're
What optimal
thriving.
is like, and that's the exact same thing with coming in my field. No, people really
Yeah.
don't understand how they can really optimize it. Oh,
Mhm.
I'm fine. I'm just fine. I'm like, fine. I just say that because fine just means that you're accepting your condition.
Like,
And
are they thriving or are they surviving? Right?
yeah,
Right, Debbie? Yeah.
exactly. And they don't realize, we are not our genetic past of our
Yeah.
parents.
So true.
And I certainly am not. And you can live a healthy life as long as you want to apply yourself.
Yeah.
And just like with the therapies, they want to apply themselves with your therapies. And, my son plays the clarinet beautifully. And he was so concerned when he was getting his wisdom teeth out. I'm going to be able to play the clarinet. And I'm like, well, and the doctor said, well, there's a possibility. Da, da, da. And he got really nervous. And I'm like, you need to calm down. You don't know. Don't take the worst case scenario in your life
Yeah.
and think that it's going to happen.
Mhm.
So, and he plays clarinet beautifully. So what can I say? He still does.
Yeah.
But, he probably could use some of your therapy if he would apply himself.
Yeah. I
But
always tell my clients that and my patients, that it takes commitment. Like, it's not hard in the sense of what you're learning because I can teach you. I'm a great teacher and I can teach you those exercises. I have a roadmap and I can tell you, and then I can guide you based on what you're struggling with and individualize it to each person. But the person doing the work is going to be you. So, like, I'm 49%, but you're 51%. And yes, it's going to take commitment. You have to do the exercises, every day. It's not a huge amount of time. My program is 5 minutes, 2 times a day.
Mhm.
Right. And that's not a lot of time, but it's getting that consistency going and
Mhm.
doing that like every day until we've achieved the goals that we're trying to get to with, each individual client. Like, once they're done, they don't have to do exercises for the rest of their life. They just, once the awareness is there and we've corrected the dysfunction, they just have to keep that. And when they regress, there's a couple things that they can do to kind of bring it back, but it's not like they're doing it for the rest of their life.
It's very similar to my coaching. Once they become consistent, it just becomes a natural habit,
Yeah.
And if they regress, then they may need some more assistance again. But the whole point is, once it becomes part of you, like the exercises are part of you, or you've gotten your muscle to a certain point that you
Yep.
don't need to do them anymore. It's if you do, it's second nature to do it again, and you can do it on your own, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point, is that if you want to make a change, you need to commit yourself, take baby steps sometimes, and
Mhm.
look at what you need to do and do it. because you only have one life, one body. Take care of it.
Yeah, but that's why we're here, you and I, Debbie,
Yeah.
it's hard. Like anyone can give you a list of exercises or anyone can give you like just a sheet and say, here, do it. But if you've never done it, you don't know what you're looking for. You don't know if you're doing it wrong. Like having that person there who's knowledgeable, has the experience, who's worked with many people, to guide you and tell you, okay, no, this is where you're struggling. Let's change this or let's do this. It's like having that coach, that motivation to help guide you because, for both what we do, I feel like it's a change of like behavior, it's behavior and that's hard, and just trying to do it on your own is like when you don't have the tools, it's hard,
Yeah, exactly. And but it's doable. Everything is doable. Anything is possible. So it's just a matter of doing things and moving forward in life, and understanding that even with physical therapists, sometimes you get this exercise and the person forgets what to do with that exercise. And so that's why it's important to go back to see your therapist on a regular basis until you get those down. And I'm sure
I had a couple other things before like we move on, just in how it helps. I've seen it help like digestive issues, like I mentioned. It's helped with speech.
Okay.
It's helped with speech. It's helped with really quick. I've seen people sleep better, right? Go from poor sleep, having like moderate sleep apnea to having more like mild, where their symptoms are manageable and they don't have to use the CPAP. I've seen like changes in posture, like whole body posture. Like I have before and after photos that I can share in my consultations. I can't share it live here because it's like public, but for my consults that come through, there are before and after pictures that I can show where their whole like neck is like, it's like this before because they're trying to open the airway, but after therapy, it's more straight. It's pretty incredible. All the changes that you can see.
Do you work with chiropractors too?
I do. So yes, I do collaborate with chiropractors because I'm like the muscle expert in this area, but there are like body work plays a huge role in like the whole function because our tongue is connected to the rest of our body all the way down to our toes through like a deep line fascia system. And so if there's tightness here, it can really affect your whole posture, and when you have things like sleep disordered breathing and sleep apnea, your neck will naturally come forward like this because you're trying to open that airway. Like we see that a lot.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because all your nerves are bundled right here at your right out of your skull. So that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Now I know that you work with different age groups, and we also get to your offer. Why don't we discuss that?
Yes. So I am doing like a free 20-minute consult, for anyone who wants to explore more, has questions, or, wants to know if they need it, we can get on the phone. I usually do, it's like a teletherapy consult with them for about 20 minutes. It's free. And so, yeah, that's what I'm offering.
Okay, so for the radio audience, do you want to just tell them what that link is? Just, read it out and spell it out. So
yeah, sure. Okay, so it's www.heartmyo.clientsecure.me. So www.heartmyo, so heartmyo dot client, CLIENT, secure, SECURE.me. So if you just put that in, it'll take you to my scheduling like system, and you just hit like new client, and then there's a bunch of times that'll show up for you to choose from. And then we can get together.
Age is, you can work with people any age. Correct?
Yeah, so I would say 3 years and up, you can definitely like pick up on the signs in infancy, but because you have to be able to know how to like report, like mimic the exercises and report back to the therapist. I typically don't work with the under 3 age because they're so young, they can't like report back how they're feeling, you know?
Okay.
I do have like referrals, and I work with a group of people that would be better fit to work with that group until they become of age to like do the therapy. But
Okay.
yes, my group is from 3 years until, you know, there's no end.
No
It's
end.
never too late to do therapy. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you have a fabulous service, and I'm sure it's not well known. And I've just gotten some in my mind, some connections I can connect you with. So I got to say, it's not only beneficial for moms with small kids who are having these issues. Like we said, it's beneficial for
Mhm.
anybody who
Yep.
has these issues that are having swallowing problems that need some help.
Mhm.
So, would you want to be a guest on my show again?
Yeah, absolutely. It was so fun chatting with you. I mean, I could talk about this stuff all day long.
Exactly. And I'm sure there's a lot more that we can cover too.
Yeah.
So please stick around. We may have some time for closing remarks, okay?
Okay, sure.
Okay, thank you. So remember, I revitalize your health and help with mental clarity by helping you correct your gut. I guide you to clean, toxic-free foods, and as well as high-quality nutritional products. And all this will reduce symptoms for your body. You may even release some weight. And with my mindset coaching, obviously, I help you release stress and emotions and reduce and also entanglements from the past. Your your mindset will be strengthened and your body will be more efficient. You can ask me about my programs on my link tree on the consultation button, which is Debi Changes Lives. That's DEBICHANGES lives lives.com/link tree. And when you do that, you get to know me. The slides are a little fast. I get to know you, and I guide you to your optimal health. Now, I have many programs. You can go back to the programs, which are on my site, and take Take Your Body Back is a 12-week weight release mindset coaching program where you can create a new version of you in an avatar board for success. All coaching is on Zoom, and the first one is private to you. I go over your health. You get to choose between 2 meal plans. I give you directions on one. I also give you instructions on how to create that new version of you in an avatar board that will drive you with emotion and passion to achieve your health and weight transformation. The rest of the coaching, whether you're in private or group, we'll be celebrating the wins. It's the same. And with gaps that you have, I get you over the gaps with health and mindset tips. You will become a new you, and you're welcome to utilize my link tree to find a show button for the Holistic Self-Care Show and watch that show for more details. Why Fast is an intermittent fasting program that gets your cells and body humming and in turn boosts your metabolism. It's rich with high-density nutrition and nutrients, and there's a program behind it with exercises and recipes. Here at the consultation, you're welcome to ask me questions. If you want some guidance and coaching, I do have a 2-week or 4-week program that you can utilize. With my mindset coaching, I do have that 2 and 4 week and maybe a more ongoing basis for coaching. And I also offer regular health coaching in the same way. On the site, you'll also find my services. I have 2 different body Zyto scans. I prefer to do the Zyto link because I could do it remotely. I've done it internationally, and I actually sent a link to South Africa recently. Zyto Link is a transdermal optical imaging app that I send a link to your phone. You scan your face for 30 seconds. It's only looking at blood flow, looking for components of energetic, functional, and emotional in different body systems and lifestyles. It generates a wellness report, not a diagnosis, of biomarkers out of range and products and services that brings it back into range. And I do go over this report because it's quite intensive. The scan itself costs $50. And if you move forward with any of my programs or my products, you get $25 off of one. Now, the Zyto link is already discounted. You can get 5 scans for the price of 4, saving $50. people are pretty amazed what their body tells them when they get the scan, and you'll be too. So get your Zyda link now. And for a limited time, I have something called Debi's Coaching Chats, which is a 30-minute, you can go to the next slide, complimentary coaching session where where in an intimate group setting where we will cover topics such as how to release weight efficiently, how to optimize your health, how to release stress and emotions, how to harmonize your hormones, how to create a winning mindset, and also how to utilize that mindset for health and weight release, as well as creating that avatar board that will drive you with emotion and passion to achieve during your health and weight transformation. It is on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, and you need to be registered for it. It is at Debi Changes Lives, DebiChangesLive as in Victor, ES.com/chats, CHATS. Finally, you can learn more about alternative health programs, products, and services, promos, events, and upcoming shows by subscribing to my newsletter. Again, that's DebiChangesLives.com, and this time is /radio TV show, all lowercase, that's one word. And I give you a 30-day health and mindset daily action journal where you can track and record your gratitude, thoughts, feelings, emotions, the foods you ate, the water you drank, the exercise you've done, and the nutritional products you take on a daily basis. You can even track your measurements. You want to review this on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to see your wins, to celebrate them, and see your gaps that you need to work on. If you need help bridging your gap, you can contact me for coaching. This journal is a great health and mindset awareness tool. And I'm sure that you found this show educational, inspiring, and enjoyed it. Reach out to me for my programs and services, and also my products, and reach out to Joanne for her offer and services. Do we have some time for Joanne to come back for closing remarks? Wonderful. Hi.
Hi.
What do you want to say to our audience today?
Yes, it was so fun for me to be here. I would love to come back and share some more in detail. I could share some before and after photos, and maybe talk to some of my clients and patients about. It's like HIPAA, I can't put it out live. And so, once they approve that, then I can definitely share those things. But I enjoyed being here. And if you guys have any questions, for sure, just, reach out to me. There's a list of common, health conditions that they can also access this free list that I have too. Oh, nice. I know. I have it on, really quick. I know where the screen.
And while she's doing that, I just want to remind you, because I don't know if we're going to run out of time.
Yeah. You can see it, right?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't? It says, oh, here it is. I'm sorry. There it goes. There we go. Those are just the common symptoms. So if you have those, reach out to me. That's it.
Okay, great. Well, I want you to continue to enjoy my radio and TV show, Debi Changes Lives, on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, where your holistic journey begins, where you can meet other people like Joanne. And thank you for being on my show. I really really enjoyed this show, and I know we can discuss things further, improving people's lives and each other's lives too.
Thank you. I enjoyed it, Debbie. Thank you very much for having me.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you for watching, everybody. Remember, reach out to me on my show, Debi Changes Lives, where your holistic journey begins.